Ladies and gentlemen, how do you feel about sharks?
I'm scared of sharks. I caught a very small sand shark once when I was a little girl fishing in Texas. And the minute I saw those teeth, and it was not big, it looked like a fish, it didn't look like a shark, but it was a baby. And I remember seeing those teeth and I thought, I'm not fishing anymore.
And now you're Sharknado.
And now I'm Sharknado.
How did this happen for you?
I sought out Anthony Ferrante on Facebook, believe it or not. My sons had tuned into the very first Sharknado, and I could see how absolutely hypnotized they were by it. And as the couple more installments went by, I also knew that Anthony C. Ferrante, the director, was a big horror fan.
Sure.
Big fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, coming up on our 30th anniversary.
Right.
What's the principal weapon against the Sharknado?
It's,
Chainsaws.
well, yeah, I had a visual,
Chainsaws.
but I didn't want to. See, I know R.A. Millenhoff, who played Leatherface in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, you know R.A.? He's fabulous.
So that's why when you said that, I was thinking of R.A. because, well, I'll tell you off camera.
Okay.
But that's why. So I froze for a reason that
Listen.
Chainsaws.
And being Stretch in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, I felt like this would be a fun little mashup. He wanted to mash up some horror influences in the film, and I basically called him and begged and said, I want to be a part of this brand. I don't care what you have me do. If the only thing I get to do is make sandwiches, I'll make sandwiches
That would be eaten by sharks.
that would be eaten by sharks. They would be Sharknado sandwiches.
Why is Sharknado so freaking popular?
I think part of it...
You guys can't go anywhere without being mobbed. You know?
Listen, part of it's the social media phenomenon. They were at the very forefront of having those red carpet premieres that were Twittered live with the audience that was in the arena at the time and among the stars and filmmakers. So from the very beginning, the audience was a part of the film experience. And that's pretty priceless.
Yes.
And not only that, Anthony knows how to come up with action that pops and goes and goes. You never know what's going to happen. He's incredibly creative and original. And the movie is the film is always on the move. And it's absurd on the one hand, but the stars of the film play it really straight.
Yeah.
My character, the little cameo that I get to have in the film is more sort of comic relief. We had a ball doing that movie. Seriously. And I knew the horror
How was
fans.
the rap party?
I didn't get to go to the rap party.
Oh, well.
I'm a mom and, I have life.
You're responsible.
I'm responsible.
Which meant the
so
rap
I
party
missed-
was really a hell of an irresponsible thing, but that's another story.
Exactly. We'll work that one in too.
Yeah.
But just to be a part of the franchise, that's so much fun. It's so cherished. It's a big vacation from reality for everybody. It's the absolute essence of the movie-going experience in your home. And Sci-Fi, they really scored with this director, Anthony C. Ferrante, with this franchise because it's been the most popular thing on Sci-Fi so far.
How did you get into acting?
26 years old, got called in on Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, ran screaming down the hallway of the audition studio, ran into the room, pulled the chairs out from under Toby Hooper and Kit Carson, piled them against the door, and crept into the corner saying they live on fear. Because that's all that was in the script. That's all.
I remember that.
All the other girls were walking in and walking out, and walking in and walking out. And I thought, they're looking for the action in this piece. They don't care how you say the lines. They're looking for the action, the athleticism. They want somebody who's really alive on screen and who's going to be willing to engage with Leatherface. And I pulled it off.
And why is Leatherface so popular in your opinion?
They're the anti-heroes. Leatherface from the very first film is misunderstood from the film in 1973. Any guy who's wearing a mask, Michael Myers, Freddy,
Halloween. Friday the 13th, yeah.
They're misunderstood anti-heroes, and yet the final girls that have been enfolded into these movies, because 86 you got Ripley from Aliens,
Right.
You got Laurie Strode from Halloween, you got
Yep.
me.
Yep.
That final girl phenomenon caught on with females in the audience who understand that the war between good and evil, women have to fight that too. And it put the opportunity for really strong, proactive, action-oriented female characters into horror films. And I think it just exponentially expanded the audience.
You know that I've done a lot of interviews, but that opened my eyes in a way that no other has ever has. I mean, and I've read a lot. That's wow. So, is that to say now that is there a classic expectation for that strong female role to be in horror action Sharknado, for example? You know.
I'll tell you, James Wan has created a franchise with Conjuring that has an incredibly and Insidious as well with Lynn Shay.
Well said.
Vera Farmiga is a devoted Christian. She's devoted to her husband, but she's devoted to engaging the war between good and evil, which in James's films is a satanic evil. It's a religious evil. They go to war with the evil in those movies. That's a demonic evil. That's basic. It's fundamental. It's the Exorcist. It's the Omen.
That's right. Oh.
They are armed with a cross in one hand and a Bible in the other. Most of us were brought up with that concept. And they engage. They engage in a different way, but they engage. Lynn Shay in Insidious 3, also classic. She's not as overt in her spiritual direction, but she is motivated by a spiritual devotion to take it. She says to him, I'm coming after you. You're not running away from me. People like that. They believe that. People believe.
I'm curious, what do you think of Danielle Harris' role in Halloween remake in that vein, you know?
Danielle is punk rock. Danielle is the contemporary version of Final Girl, who is strong, who is capable. She's very small. She's unafraid. It's the same idea. Because I did Hatchet 3 with Danielle.
I was the embedded video blogger for Hatchet 2.
Get the fuck out. And did Adam put you in that panoply of filmmakers as he went down the row of seats they were planning to go?
Well, it was a little bit worse. I was in a Hummer with them.
Oh my God.
Yeah, with Ari Millenhoff.
This is a story.
Kane Hodder. Danielle.
Yes.
Jennifer, who's married to Michael Biehn.
Jennifer Blank Biehn.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there is a now famous video on my channel, Zenny62, where Danielle comes up with, they do these tags like MV.
Sure.
And she came up with my vagina. Anyway. I am not kidding you.
Which is now your moniker.
I am not kidding you.
And everybody knows you this way now.
Yeah, it's true.
It can be a seduction technique. You know.
And Dark Sky Films was like, well, God, how did this happen? And then went viral and they didn't say anything more. That's how I met all of the cast.
That's fantastic.
But Danielle had this idea of embedding me with the cast, and that's how I met all of them. And
that is so smart too.
And R.A. and Kane, I used to wear a yellow jacket before I started this black thing I wear. And Kane would always call me Century 21.
Oh, now that is funny.
Yeah, so that's how I.
That is funny. That is funny. Kane, same thing. Victor Crowley, the misunderstood monster, you know, who comes from something. In Hatchet 2, they told his story. Tobe Hooper has said often that horror films are the new Westerns. Everybody watched Westerns in the 50s and 60s, and you got to have that battle. Today, it's horror. The really funny thing, it's folding in on itself now with Bone Tomahawk, with Hateful Eight. Quentin Tarantino brings extremely violent and scary and terrifying horror elements into those films. He's reinventing it in the same way, in a way that James Wan is. James is bringing a more spiritual element, and then Tarantino is bringing a real basic, primitive, primal struggle. The thing I love about horror these days, it's constantly reinventing itself. And it is so expansive now with all the television offerings. American Horror Story, Scream, the television series, Final Girls, Scream Queens, all the offerings that you see frequently on Sci-Fi and Chiller. That audience exponentially grows. And it's because of that very, very basic story.
What else you got coming up? What else you got coming up?
Blood Feast.
Blood Feast.
Blood Feast hits the red carpet premiere
I love it. Blood Feast.
Fright Fest UK. It is our remake, a classic remake of Herschel Gordon Lewis's 1963 gore classic. Because in '63, nobody was doing gore.
Right.
Marcel Waltz, our director,
Those are
decided.
the days of the Hammer films, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
These days, we've got Marcel Waltz, a German director. We have an international cast. We shot in Germany and Paris and created a completely different look and feel. It has a much more upscale, sophisticated feel, and yet, once again, the same themes are engaged. And I co-star with Robert Russler and Sophie Monk. And then we're, of course, going to have our 30th anniversary red carpet celebration of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 at Grauman's Chinese Theater in Los Angeles, end of August. So lots of good stuff going on.
Oh.
And then I get to be here to celebrate Sharknado and be a
Yeah.
part of the wildness that's happening all over SDCC.
And on that note, we're going to close because she's going to do a special intro for this video.
Tell me.
Well, I will want to count off the camera. Thank you so much.
And thank you.
You got it.
That was fun.
Yeah.